Hello everyone. I want to apologize that I'm not here to give this presentation in person. I caught a cold, and so that's why I'm doing it over Zoom. So hopefully it is up to par. I'm working with what I have. So thank goodness for technology. Um, I'm in Girl Scout Troop 5325, and I'm working on my Gold Award project, which was based around the reduction of plastic use in my community. And so I worked with my temple to reduce plastic at our Obon Festival. So this year, our 2022 Obon Festival was 100% plastic utensil free. And I just wanted to have the opportunity to share it with all these other temples, to kind of set a example of what could be for the future, in helping reduce our community's carbon footprint, because it's something that's really important to me, and that's why I chose it for my project. So I have a pretty short presentation on. Do I share my screen? Okay. Okay, so it's called the Plastic Purge Project. So I wanted to go over the short but not so sweet history of plastic. So we're going to take a look back into when plastic first started being mass produced, which was during World War I. The US had quadrupled their production of plastics, and more plastic manufacturers began appearing across the country. And after the war, these plastic manufacturers stopped producing plastic helmet liners, vinyl rain jackets, plexiglass cockpits, nylon parachutes, and kind of switched their production to consumer products. And that's how we got, like all of our modern day stuff that used to be made of other things like wood, but is now made of plastic. And so was kind of known as like the plastic century, and it didn't take long for the uprise of plastic to overwhelm its wooden, fabric, and metal competitors with its convenience, and it was also very cost effective in production. And this revelation soon gave way to the birth of the oil-fueled plastic century. And since the 1960s, plastic has increased rapidly, with over 300 million tons of plastic produced by thousands of manufacturers annually, which is a lot. And this actually has a very large impact on the environment, and not only ourselves, but the things that we end up eating. So, when plastic goes into the ocean, it breaks down into microplastics, and that eventually makes its way up to the food chain and onto our plates. So it is also, making its rounds and affecting us, which is why it's so important to act on this issue. And according to recent studies, humans actually consume 5 grams of microplastics and nanoplastics a week, which can even add up to around a credit card's worth of plastic, which is a lot of plastic. And on the topic of recycling, out of the 7 billion tons of plastic produced globally, you would think that more of it would be recycled, but actually less than 10% is actually recycled according to the EPA. And this is just because recycling plastic is so expensive, and it also takes a lot of oil to repurpose plastic. So it's kind of like this, we're in this kind of backwards loop where we're not really getting anywhere with recycling, just because of how inconvenient it can be and expensive. And here are some steps to recycling plastic, because it is still a good thing to recycle plastic when you can. So make sure to clean your plastic before it goes into the bin. So just rinse it off. Make sure it's relatively dry, and we cannot recycle foam or polyester, which is like, like foam cups and stuff like that, and no plastic wrap or film. So I'm going to talk more about the 2022 Obon Festival. So for my Gold Award project, I decided to do something related to plastic pollution within my own community, and this led me to my main project goal, which was to make the 2022 Venice Obon 100% plastic utensil free, which I was able to successfully achieve with the help of the temple's board and committee. So I want to give a thanks to you guys because I wouldn't have been able to do it without you. I used utensils made from 100% biodegradable CPLA, which is a harder heat resistant material made from crystallized chalk and plant starch that resembles plastic without the harmful impact. And I purchased all these utensils that I used. And quick side note, I know you guys are having refreshments right now, and the utensils that you're using are the same utensils I purchased and I donated to the temple. So all the utensils you are using right now are 100% biodegradable, and even though they look like plastic, they are not, and they are made out of plants. So I think that's really cool because they look like plastic and they serve the same purpose, and most of the time you can't even tell. So that's why I think it was so important that we made this switch over, because really there's not much of a difference in the way we experience it, but there's such a large impact on what we do for the environment by implicating these like small things into our everyday lives. And so here are some photos from the Obon Festival. I hung up these little posters at a lot of the food booths to let people know that they were eating with non-plastic utensils. And there's some photos of my fellow Girl Scout troop members packaging them with the meal prep. And then that photo at the bottom is my grandma eating with one of the spoons. She's enjoying a shaved ice from the shaved ice booth. And so here's some statistics because I thought it was really interesting if I recorded how much plastic we used and all that. So I made sure to count everything and distribute each quantity to individual booths so I could keep track of what we used and what we didn't use. And so by counting how many utensils we used, we could determine how much plastic was avoided being put out into our environment. So the fast food booth, we used 137 pieces of biodegradable utensils, which means that 137 pieces of plastic was avoided being put out into the environment. Oh, sorry about that. And the snow cone booth was 567 pieces of plastic that we avoided putting out into the environment. The bento booth, 527. The Obon prep meals, and were 100 pieces of plastic being avoided. And in total, I calculated that 1,624 pieces of plastic were avoided being used at this year's Obon Festival, which doesn't seem like a lot now, but if in the future my Obon Festival continues to be plastic utensil free, this will continue adding up. So in 5 years, we will have saved 8,120 pieces of plastic from entering our ecosystem. In 10 years, we will have saved 16,240 pieces of plastic from entering our ecosystem. And in 15 years, we will have saved 24,360 pieces of plastic from entering our ecosystem. And that is just our temple alone. So if we're able to incorporate this in other places, we're going to be able to drastically decrease our carbon footprint within our community. And I just think it would be something that's so amazing, especially seeing like the encouragement of these statistics that could be possible in the future. And I also wanted to list some sustainable alternatives because I know that lots of people want to make change, and it's important to provide resources on where to find it and how to be capable of making change. And so there are plenty of reusable alternatives that are a great way to fight the output of plastic trash into our environment, like reusable water bottles, food containers, and cutlery are all great examples of this. And however, one-use plastics still remain a large problem in third world countries because there's not an option to prioritize convenience over sustainability. And that's why this project was so important to me, because I'm very thankful that I come from a family where we are able to make these conscious decisions over convenience versus sustainability. And especially since I live within a community that has the option between the two, I think it's so important to encourage to implement doing our best from what we have, which not a lot of people do. So I just find that really important. which is another reason why I'm doing this project. And so here are some sustainable alternatives. So you can use metal water bottles. They work perfectly fine. You know, Hydro Flasks, I know a lot of people have those and they work really well for keeping things cold or keeping things hot. Glass containers that are reusable. Oh my God, sorry. Wooden cutlery, and my mom loves to use these. They're wax paper sandwich bags instead of plastic baggies. And she also loves, this was not included in these photos, but she also loves using these beeswax wraps instead of saran wrap, and you can reuse them, and they're, sorry, I don't know why my slides keep changing, but you can reuse them and they're great, and she loves those. Oh my God. Okay, so here are some places that you can purchase these. Non-plastic alternatives are becoming more and more available, which is a great thing. So really, they're not super hard to find. They offer them at Costco, Walmart, Amazon, and Target, and I'm sure you can find like separate dealers that sell their own brand of sustainable alternatives, but I know Amazon has a lot, and lots of people use Amazon, so that might be easier for everybody else. And many other large outlet stores carry plastic alternative items. And how can I learn more about plastic pollution? Since my presentation is, I'm trying to keep it on the shorter side just because I know that everyone else needs a chance to speak. I linked below a few places where you can, you know, visit different sites to learn more about plastic pollution. Heal the Bay is a great one, especially because it's encompassing our area specifically, and you can look at water quality and stuff like that. And I know that they do ocean pickups every once in a while, so that's great. And overall, I'm very, very thankful to be able to have this opportunity to share my project with you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed it and it shifted your perspective on what we're capable of doing for our environment. And thank you so much.